Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final Strompcast of the 24-25 season. Before we get into the award show, let me introduce you to one of my co-hosts, Richard. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. It seems like so long ago we were starting the season. Now we're here at the end. We've reached the summit, so to speak. So I'm good though. I'm happy to get into the kind of end of season shenanigans we typically get into. No Danny, no Chris will be joining us, I believe, midway. But I'm excited to get into things. How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I was doing a timeline video for my personal YouTube about this season,
Yeah.
and I couldn't believe that this season was how we bought the Super Tassa to Porto. I thought that was like last
Yeah.
season. I was like, crazy
That
how
does
long this
feel
season has
that
been.
does feel like I mean that is almost a year ago. That feels like an eternity ago. So much,
Ah,
so many things happen between now, like then and now. Like just too many things. It feels like a lifetime ago that happened.
three different managers, about 20 different injuries, and that's not even an exaggeration. Like that is
Yeah.
genuinely the amount of injuries we've had this season. So yeah, crazy. Yeah, like Richard said, I forgot to get his nameplate out. There you go. You can follow Richard
Yeah.
there. Danny's not going to be here today, but you can follow him there. Chris will join us later on. I am there. But most importantly, make sure you follow us on all things Alvalade on all social media and podcast platforms. So, Richard, we've been doing some tweeting over the last couple of days about
Okay.
award shows, but I've also been in the DMs of certain media people and, of course, the podcast group. Last year, we did this sort of show, and this year we are running it back. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All Things Alvalade
Whoa.
End of Season Awards, honoring the best and the brightest of the 24-25 season. We've got graphics, ladies and gentlemen, now.
Look at us up in the levels here of
We have
production.
stepped up. So, how this works is that I've done three different categories of voting. So, first of all, we have the podcast votes, but Richard doesn't know what I voted for. Rich doesn't know what Chris voted for, and then everything. So, we don't know what each other voted for. But I've tallied up the votes, and we have got some award winners. We've also asked media influencers and journalists, things like that, but also Twitter. So, again, make sure you follow us at ATA Alvalade to vote in these polls in the future. But before I get into the awards, let me just shout out some of the media people that I asked and were gracious enough to respond to our voting. So first of all, Sporting Comps, Kevin Arujo, Matilda Pignol, Con Murphy, Nino Torres, Inside Sporting, Sporting Tactico, João Castro, Zach Lowy, and Albert from
Oh,
Longball
we got a really
Football.
good selection this year of media. We're getting big time.
We are
Good
getting big
selection of
time.
people.
Few people that didn't reply, I'm not going to leave them. But, check your DMs. Or if you did and ignored us anyway, that's just rude.
Yeah.
But anyway, shout out to the first time viewer in the chat, High Tech J. Hope you're doing
Welcome.
well. And Isoki Fernandez, thank you for the nice graphic. Definitely a long season.
Yeah.
But Richard, we have got, of course, let me just get up the thing that I tweeted out so we can all have a look at what the criteria was. I will be honest, I've not done all the categories that we tweeted out a few days ago,
Okay.
just because we'd be here all day. There is just too many things. And I wanted to keep it a bit lighthearted. I didn't include many of the bad things. I included one sort of bad category, but the rest are sort of happy and good
Worst
memories.
haircut on the team, and why is it always near the Suns? That didn't make the cut.
Exactly. No, it didn't this year, unfortunately.
Damn.
But these are the ones we asked you for. So we wanted your player of the season, underrated player, disappointing, most surprising, the best goal, the best game, the worst game, the favorite moment, and the favorite kit.
Okay.
So let me just get it out the way. Every single person for player of the season obviously voted for one man. I
That's
maybe,
Ricardo's guy, right?
of course, man. But maybe I should have done player of the season, excluding this player. But
Yeah.
the unanimous player of the season voted for the media by podcast members and, of course, by Twitter is, of course, Victor Gyökeres. There is really no debate.
Checks out.
Yeah, of course. Like, I will give out shout outs to other people that should have probably been in there. Obviously, you've got like Rui Silva when he came in. You've got guys like
Trincao.
Trincao, of course. You've got guys like Ignacio, Zeno de Bast, Hjulmand, of course, is a missed. And some people, when they voted, especially the media, were like, Gyökeres. But if you're not doing Gyökeres, then Hjulmand. Hjulmand was like the second most person I saw, which I can agree with. But of course, all the podcast members voted for Victor Gyökeres as well. as did the media. Richard, you like? It's not really a surprise, is it?
No,
How
like
good Victor Gyökeres is.
like the guy scored over 50. We thought like, oh, could he improve on like his 40 goal season last year, and then he responded by scoring another like dozen goals on top of what he added last year in all comps. Like, yeah, I have no arguments with this. I think Hjelmund and Trincao for me would have been like my second and third, or in whatever order you want to put, especially during like the injury crisis. Like Trincao just played a stupid amount. I think he played more minutes this season alone than what he did in the previous like 2 seasons combined, or close to it. I think I saw that somewhere. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
him and Hjelmund being just an absolute monster in midfield, and just being like a good captain in general. But yeah, I think Victor Gyökeres, the unanimous MVP of the season. I think that was just a given.
yeah, 100%. So now we are going to move on to the most underrated player.
Ooh.
And I will say, every single person on the podcast, apart from two, had different votes. So Christian's vote was for Rhys Silva, which I think is a good shout still. I think, underrated, but I think he was also, by the end, I think we were all pretty much relying on Rhys Silva. Richard, do you remember who you put?
I think I put Trincao.
You did, in fact, pick Quaresma. You picked Eduardo Quaresma. Danny picked Trincao. And I also picked Francisco Trincao as the most underrated player of the season. And the reason was because I don't even necessarily think he's been underrated in terms of performance. But like you said, the minutes he's had to playing with a broken hand.
Importance to the team. Like, you don't realize how key he is to the team until like he's not playing, which we didn't get to see a lot of this season. He was playing like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like some good stats to show for it too. Like, he scored some good goals, some big goals, and had some big assists, especially down the stretch. So like, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think just in terms of minutes played, and like you said, in big games, he was huge for us this year. Scoring against Benfica in the first 4 minutes, of course, getting the 3-1, the third goal in the Taça Portugal final as well.
And assist on the 2-1 goal as well in the final to Taça as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he was the assister on the penalty technically as well to put Victor Gyökeres through. I might be mistaken, but
you know what? That was his ball. Yeah, he was the one who put Gyökeres through.
Yeah, so I think he's definitely underrated in that aspect. Of course, there's like you mentioned, Quaresma is in there. I still think Rhys Silva is a good shout as well. Mm-hmm. But I was the deciding vote, so I did pick Trincao with that one.
We had choices for this, to be fair.
Yeah, much like the our media section, they were quite split on votes. We had some for Jenny Katamo, we had some for Zeno de Bast, but the overall winner was Maxi Arujo, which again I think is a good shout. First season in Portugal, sort of made to play in the left wing position most of the times. I think no one expected him to play as much as he played. I think if Nuno Santos stays fit, then Maxi probably doesn't play as much. But I think in terms of what he's been able to do, and I love me a bit of the South American flair. I like players who will, I was going to say stamp on people's heads. Too soon. Too soon. But no, just like fiery players, ones that you'd hate to play against, but you love playing for your team.
Yeah.
And I think Maxi is the epitome of that. What are your thoughts on Maxi this season?
Yeah, like overall, like I was impressed. I think he had more good moments than bad for sure. He's still like a somewhat young player, so you could see flashes of like his decision making wasn't always there. Like I said this when we were doing the live stream for the cup final. He will do something that makes you go like, oh, that's a good player. That's sweet ball or whatever. But then he'll also follow it up like immediately after and do something silly where you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, like sometimes frustrating, but not as frustrating as I would say others on this team.
But I feel like for this one, for underrated player, you could have gone with pretty much anyone and been correct. Obviously, bar maybe like a guy or someone.
Are going to get the attention, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a case to be made for Mateus Reis throughout the season when he's been having to fill in. Even to a lesser extent, I think guys like Aaron Fresneda has come in when chucked in the deep end, especially in games against like Porto, and he's managed to score. I think you could arguably put him in there. But I still think Maxi is a deserved winner. But for the first time, we've had 3 different winners. Obviously, we picked Trincao, media picked Maxi, but Twitter/X picked Eduardo Quaresma for underrated player of the year. Again, I completely understand. I think he is someone who's grown a lot in especially the last 2 seasons, considering maybe the start of last season we thought he's going to be frozen out, maybe he'd get sold or loaned out in January. And then that game against Porto happens, and that game saved his career. And ever since then, he has been absolutely phenomenal. I would dare to say that I think he's my favorite centre-back to watch out of the 3 stars that we've had, Diomande and Nasio, not taken away from those 2, obviously. But in terms of being able to change a game, the way Eduardo Quaresma carries the ball, even when Rui Borges first came in, he had to play it right back. I still thought he was fantastic. And yeah, just like I said, I think whichever way you go with this one, it makes sense. But what are your thoughts on Eduardo Quaresma?
Yeah, well, that was my vote for the underrated, like out of the podcast. Yeah, like I wouldn't argue that, obviously, considering I voted for him. Yeah, he was a great this season, especially when called upon. Had a couple big goals again, which is always good to see. And I would agree with you, actually. He is one of probably of the 3 main center backs. I think he's probably, the most enjoyable. He seems to be the least error prone. Because Diomande, I love Diomande and Inacio, but sometimes their decision making could be a little shocking. And I found that Eduardo Quaresma, I almost called him Ricardo Quaresma, wrong Quaresma. I thought
they're related apparently, so yeah,
good for him. But yeah, I thought Eduardo Quaresma, like out of the 3, his decision making typically was the least spotty. Like we didn't see him give up any like stupid, like silly penalties. He didn't get any like red cards at dumb times. Like he kept a pretty cool head compared to the other 2. Yeah, like that was my vote. I would agree, but like you said, you could make a case for several players, and like I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you. Like who's the most underrated?
I think as well, the game that I remember most of Eduardo Quaresma was against Club Brugge, where he got absolutely clotheslined, that full pelt by the Club Brugge defender, and still wanted to carry on.
And I just remember saying like he should not have played finish that game or played the next game. I was like, I'm pretty sure he should have been in concussion protocol, but
yeah, he had a shiner on the next game. I remember, like he just been in 12 rounds of Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
But again, it's something that he obviously loves playing and wants to play for the club, and I think at that time we were still in an injury crisis, so
we didn't have any options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know what I said about being positive, but this one I did have to include one negative category in there. And of course, with the season of triumph, there's got to be some downwards turns and some players that disappoint. And I will say there was a unanimous vote from all of us with the most disappointing player.
Yeah.
And he also won the media's vote of most disappointed player. And that is Hidemasa Morita. I think we can both agree it's not due to performance.
It was injuries. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah, and it felt like it was really stop-start. He'd be back and then he'd be out. There was the controversy of him going to the Asian qualifying, which a lot of sporting fans were rubbed the wrong way about, which we didn't really care too much about, but sort of saw it from both sides.
If that was a Portuguese guy and he got hurt, you probably wouldn't be as pissed off. Like, who cares? That's where I stood on that. Yeah, I would agree with you. Like, I think just the injuries, the stop-start. I wonder, like, I kind of want to blame the medical staff, but like if he's not healthy, like don't try. I know there's like other injuries going on in the team that they can't help, but like if he's obviously not 100%, don't trot him out there to play and just make it worse. 'Cause I think that's what it was. Like there was one game where he had just come back and he had maybe got like 1 or 2 games in, and then he got hurt again. Like why are we putting him out there if he's not healthy? Like, that just feels like you're putting him in a position to not succeed. Someone had to get this. I really like Morita. I thought he was phenomenal for us last season. I've always really enjoyed him. But yeah, I just feel like this was not completely his fault. It was more like he just couldn't really get going. He was good at the start of the season too. Before he had like a lot of the injuries, he had some decent games. But yeah, it was just stop, start, like you said.
Yeah, like he's a great player at times, but this season we just didn't really get to see it. You said at the start of the season he was great, but I think due to injuries, I think you could tell that his body had slowed down a bit from what it was, and I guess that's not really his fault. It's just due to the way injuries work. But
it happens.
Yeah, like you said, someone had to get this award. I don't want it to be too negative because of the season we had, But I will say, X went a completely different direction. Not one I could expect, but not one I expected to see. If that makes sense. I thought a lot of people might have forgotten about him, and that is Vladan Kovacevic was the winner. Well, I guess loser, I suppose, of the most disappointing player of the year.
You're the number one loser. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I will say X/Twitter was it's quite varied in who they went for. I did see Vladan the most. There was also, of course, shouts to Morita. St. Just was in there. Marcus Edwards was in there as well. Some for Fresneda, which I thought was quite harsh.
Okay.
And of course, there's going to be some random ones in there. I think someone put Conrad Harder again, which I thought was harsh.
Harder was their MVP for the cup, so I will not be having that.
I saw Pedro Gonçalves, which I sort of see, but again,
but he was
I think
for half the year.
Yeah, but I think that's why they put it, just because he was hurt for that long. In the similar vein to Morita, whereas he's a great player, but he's just having these injuries. But I think what he did against Boavista and what he was able to do in other games as well since coming back sort of say that for me. And even at the start of the season, Pedro Gonçalves was fantastic as well. So
until he got hurt, he was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. But in the case of Vladan, I think, yeah, definitely he was. I think he's the most disappointing signing we had. And he was supposed to replace Adan and take Israel's spot, but it turned out being the opposite. Israel would take his spot.
You can't spell Vladan without Adan, am I right?
Facts. And it definitely looked that way. And I think I do feel sorry for Kovacevic, because I think his confidence was knocked after the game against Porto, where he conceded 4. And I will say maybe 2 or 3 of the goals are probably his fault. Being 6'4" or 6'3", you really shouldn't be getting chipped off your line whilst you're still on your line. As a goalkeeper, I'm sure you know, Richard, that's pretty much unacceptable.
Like that, yeah. I would agree. I think too, he just, and we said this before he went out on loan and during the early parts of the season, he's 6'4", but he plays like he's a half a foot shorter. He plays like he's 5'8", 5'9". He plays so much shorter. I'm like, dude, these are goal. I've never seen someone just almost shrink when they're in goal quite like Vladan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just such a curiosity, because he had some hype. He was, I think, goalkeeper of the year in the Polish league. Not a top league, but not a pushover league. There's some good players that come out of there.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously I think there's certainly out of all of our signings, certainly the most disappointing. Yeah, I would kind of agree with this. I don't remember who I put as. I think I put Morita as mine.
Yeah, we all put Morita for the podcast.
Yeah, this would have probably been my second. I kind of let him off because he was on loan for half the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm I can't really judge. Same with Marcus Edwards. I understand some people putting Edwards in there, but I can't really judge you if you don't really play.
Yeah.
In that sense, right? If you're not here for half the season, you're on loan. I can't really give you the most disappointing player of the year just by default.
Yeah, agreed. I was thinking other games after Porto one, he just looked a bit shaky. He never looked like it was one of them where every time the opponent had a shot on goal, you were just is he going to let it in? Is he going to save it?
It was just anxiety inducing. You're oh, here it comes.
And I think when you look back at Joel Pereira's reign as well, he had to play Kovacevic, I think, in both games with Santa Clara and Moreirense. And in no way am I saying it's Vladan's fault. It was poor from the whole team.
Planning,
but
yeah.
It probably didn't help Vladan's confidence much after anyway. So, yeah, I feel quite bad for him. But yeah, like I said, someone's
got to get it. It's we're not trying to be mean spirited.
Yeah. So we've got 3 categories left. Obviously, there was more on the poll, but I decided to shorten it so we could have some other things on the podcast as well. Every single one of these was the same sort of vote from podcast, media, and X. They all agreed on one player. I'm going to go in a different route. I'm going to go for Kit this time to start off with, because you and Danny won the vote, because me and Chris went for 2 different kits. Chris went for the lime green one. I went for the pink for breast cancer awareness. But the winner of the best kit by pretty much everyone was the Tassa's white away kit.
A bit with this vote, because we had this for a period last year. I think I voted that last year as well, but I was screw it.
I think it won last year as well.
I'm screw it. You know what? It was still the best kit this year, and I'm gonna stick by that. I have last year's version with the old Batano logo. But yeah, like I actually really do like this kit. I like the simplicity of it. I like that old logo. That's my favorite version of the Sporting logo.
Yeah.
My second place was the actual Strom kit, not the home kit that was supposed to be a tribute to Strom. The actual Strom kit was actually cool. It was a little different than what we typically see from a Strom kit.
Mhm.
But yeah, I still had to pick this one. I really like this kit.
Yeah, I just think even though it won, like I said, it won last year, it's really nice. And to be fair, I do like. I would say all the kits we released, I've actually liked. The home one, I didn't like at first, and I still don't really like it as a home kit. I think if that's a
You're
third kit,
you're
it's
like me.
nice.
I like it. I like the actual kit itself, but I don't like it as using that as a home kit. It's the same beef Benfica fans had when they had their home kit, and it was like it was like all black. There was no white in the kit, so it was like a
Hmm.
black and gold like crest, black sponsor, black Adidas like accents, like the stripes and everything. And a lot of Benfica fans say like this would be fine as like maybe an alternate, but as the home kit, like it's you got to stick to being a bit more traditional. And
Yeah,
that was how I felt about our home kit this year. I thought it was a cool kit, but I hated it that it was like our home kit.
yeah. And I think the actual Strump, for me, we just didn't use it enough. That I didn't really get to see it that much
We
in
only saw it
action.
early in the cup, I think.
Yeah, I thought they were going to wear it on Sunday,
I
but it
was
turns
hoping
out,
they would,
yeah.
but they didn't. They went with the traditional home, which I get.
Yeah, but in terms of Twitter feedback, we saw like pretty much every single kit was listed at least maybe once or twice. I saw
Yeah,
quite a few for the home kit, a few for the pink kit, the lime green one. Again, I just don't really feel like we wore that one enough for me to be like, oh, I do like that kit, but we didn't wear it enough in
yeah.
game for me
I did
to
like
stick
all our
out.
kits this season. I don't think we had like an objectively horrible kit at any
Yeah,
point this season, which is good because we have had seasons where I'm like, oh, that's not a nice kit. But this was one of
yeah.
those seasons where I actually liked all our kits.
We've got what 9 coming next season, so
Well, we've seen one, and
yeah,
it's pretty. Yeah, I got an 8.5, 9 out of me.
yeah, it's a
Personally,
beauty.
there's
So
not
it's
much I
a
would do to
beautiful
improve
kit.
upon it. So I'm curious to see what we do for the other 8 kits. I imagine like 2 or 3 of those are going to be like the keeper kits, though.
Yeah,
Like I'd be shocked if like we like, that didn't include the goalie kits.
yeah, it must do. Well, unless it includes like training kits as well, but
But
even still, I just
maybe, but they sell those anyways. Like we
yeah.
get those every year anyways. We get 1 or 2 versions of a training kit.
No, it's
We'll see.
true.
We'll see. We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely. We probably should hear about an away kit in the next month or so. I'd imagine if there is going to be a different one, and maybe they just keep the Tasta want to keep changing it slightly. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yes, up next, well, the penultimate one, we will do. Let's do game of the season, and again,
Ooh.
it
Okay.
was unanimous from everyone, and that was Sporting 4, Manchester City
This one
1.
gave us so much hope. This game. This
I
game made us feel like we were gonna go like invincible. Like,
Yeah,
I thought
facts.
we won this game. I'm like, we're winning the Champions League after this game.
Same.
I was so fired up for this game.
I
Oh,
think as well,
I was
the whole
getting messages.
story.
I was getting messages from like people who know I'm a Sporting fan, but they don't watch any Portuguese football. Like, yo, what's going on? Like, you guys are sick. What's happening? Like, this Jokeres guy is for real. And I'm like, yeah. Like, tell me about it. Like this
Yeah,
game, man. Oh,
I think the story going into it as well. Of course, we already knew Amorim was going to United. He's facing arch rivals Manchester City, and he
yeah.
absolutely tears them apart. And it
His
was
last game at the Alvalade too.
yeah, and it looked like it was going to go so badly because Phil Foden scored, I think, in like the first 4 or 5 minutes or something
Yeah,
like that.
it was very early the goal.
And then Victor Gyökeres misses a chip in like the first like half as well, and then manages to score
Mm-hmm.
not once, not twice, as you see from the picture, 3 times.
Maxi scores like right at the start of the set, like the first go round of the second half. Like they kick off, they run down and score.
And I think it's a
Crazy.
beautiful goal as well. The team play
Yeah.
with him and Pedro Gonzalez is just so good, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think it's going to be one of them games where you could say in like 5 years' time, I remember where I was watching this game.
Yeah.
I remember what I was doing, how I felt watching this game, and it reminds me of the Arsenal one as well, back in 2023. Just a fantastic all-round game. Like you said, it gave us so much hope, and I think it was the perfect send-off for Ruben Amorim. This was the game that got the majority of the votes from everyone. A few people voted for the Benfica game just gone. A few people.
The Tasa?
Yeah, correct.
Fair. That was a chaotic game.
A few people voted for Sporting 2, Vitória Guimarães 0, which again makes sense.
Yeah, the championship clinching game. That's fair. I almost went with that actually.
Yeah, but the majority is Sporting 4, Man City 1.
Fair.
So that leaves one category. And again, this one, when I say unanimous, I mean unanimous.
Really?
Goal of the season,
Oh yeah.
Eduardo Quaresma. Now, there is one person from this podcast that did not vote this goal, and they voted De Bast versus Lille, which again, I can see because that goal was an absolute beauty. But Danny Saldana must have an agenda against Eduardo Quaresma because he did not vote it. The rest of us did vote it. And I think this one
this saved the league title for them, arguably. Right?
Yeah.
Like if they look like even if they tie that game, they now go into a derby needing to win, not being able to get a tie. And then if the derby result stays the same, they still have to win and hope Benfica ties or loses on the last day. Like this saved their ass in so many ways.
Yeah. And one of the other categories we did, but we're not putting on the show, was favorite moment. And the reason I didn't do that one was because this one won it as well.
Yeah.
This is like the unanimous moment of the season. And 100% you hit it nail on the head that if this doesn't happen, it's, the title's over for us. And I think, again, what a player for it to be. The one player who was nearly, like I said, frozen out at one point, guy who pretty much had the claw.
On loan, too,
yeah.
At one point.
Relegated with Tondela, then didn't play with Hoffenheim, and the way he was able to claw back, and a centre back as well, and someone who is obviously so beloved by not just the fans but by the team as well, and Eduardo Quaresma, and again had a difficult season with injuries as well. He was sort of a stop-start player this season, but as soon as the ball left his foot, it's just like, please go in, and then
go into the net.
the moment happens. And it also reminded me of the 2021 season where I felt like we could just not lose a game under Ruben Amorim. It would always be a Coates 90-minute goal, Paulinho 90-minute goal, something like that for Dahl.
Something near the end to get the result. You need to at least get a result. And this was it saved the season for them, I would say.
Yeah, I just think there's no doubt that this was goal of the year. But again, the best goal is one of the best goals I've ever seen from a sporting player.
That was my second. I was so close to voting that one too.
In terms of just the way they were scored, I think the only one that is above that one for me all time, maybe two all time, is Pedro Gonçalves at the Emirates. And I believe it was Nani versus Gil Vicente, I want to say, in 13-14. The volley. Yeah, the volley from the throw-in. I think Miguel Lopez takes a throw-in, if I recall correctly.
I always go back to I think we mentioned it either on the live stream we did or the show before that when we previewed the Final Taça, which was the Bruno Fernandes goal in the semi-final against Benfica in 2019.
Oh yeah,
not the free kick one though. That one should get some recognition as well. It's the one when he cuts it back onto his left, and he goes top corner short side on Villard. And Villard should have definitely probably covered that better, but it's still a crazy shot. To shoot on your off foot on the close post, not even to try to go far post, is absurd. So, but yeah, I would agree. That Quaresma goal is going to be up there for one of the best goals I've seen in my life. As is the De Bast one. That one was crazy too.
Yeah, I feel like there were also a lot of good goals. I think even Gyökeres against Man City was a great goal. The free kicks he scored as well were absolute screamers too.
The pot goal against Guimarães to go 1-0 up is a phenomenal goal. That one just kind of gets brushed over. But it was a great build up, great pass, great finish first time posting in. That was a great goal too.
Yeah, there are just so many goals that you could pick, and I definitely think Eduardo Quaresma is the way to go. But that is the end of the award show category. Richard, did you disagree with any of the winners?
No, you'd see a case. I mean, I voted the way I voted, and I'll be open about it. Kind of shook out to who the winners were, and I could see the ones who did win that maybe I didn't vote for. I could absolutely see the case for them, and I could agree with that.
Yeah,
no controversies here, I would say.
Definitely. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in to the end of season awards. But don't worry, we're not finishing yet. We've still got some things to cover. Of course, it's going to be the last time you see us until probably the season preview, if any big news comes out, of course.
Yeah.
But speaking of season preview, earlier in the season, I asked all the podcast members to predict where Sporting were going to finish in the league. You have to bear with us for this one because this could be technical difficulties. We don't know. We've never tested this out before. So we're going to test this out. I've got video clips of all of our predictions, and we're going to see.
And all of us hit, I imagine. Not one person was wrong because we're so smart here on All Things Alvalade in the Strompcast.
Well, I need to remember, speaking of smart, who went first. I can actually find that out by looking at the video clip. Because I believe it was you that went first. So
I made the first prediction. I was like, I think I remember saying, like, I wish you didn't come to me first.
You did.
I did, yeah.
So let's see if this plays. One sec. Go. And I'll start off with you, Richard. League position, straight off. What do you think Sporting's league position will be next year?
Putting this on me already. I wish you had gone to someone else first. But I'll take the pressure. I really want to say first.
Say it.
Wow.
Okay, you can say it. I've come back from the future, and I can confirm it is ours.
I'm gonna be so mad at Matt. I'm gonna be so mad at you in like 9 months if you're wrong. If we're wrong. I think we might actually call me crazy. We might go back to back with you. Whoa, Nostradamus strikes again.
You've done well there, Danny, with the influence as well. Maybe he is from the future. Who knows? Maybe he is correct.
I've been pretty good with I'm the predictions king on this show, as we know. But yeah, that's a couple times I've gone out and like predicted something pretty good, like not just related to like individual games. I remember the Arsenal game. I was like, they're gonna win in penalties, and everybody called me a madman, and they did it.
Then I think you said, "Oh, we're gonna get Juventus next round." Then we got Juventus next round.
Like, I was like, we'll probably get like a Juve or some giant, and then that's exactly who we got.
Yeah, definitely. I'll do Danny's one up next because I've just got a message from Chris that's saying he is on the way. So Danny's one is, I believe, this one. But you could probably guess from what he said, considering the clip. But we'll give it a listen anyway.
He had a relegation battle, didn't he?
Yeah, Danny, I'll come to you next.
For the league?
Yeah.
So we're going competition by competition.
Yeah,
then.
Okay. I'm confident. I do believe we'll go back to back.
So yeah, Danny hits it as well. We did do competition by competition, but unfortunately, for some reason, I didn't do who's going to win the Taça de Liga and Taça Portugal. So that's annoying because none of us predicted the double because we just couldn't. We actually predicted Champions League places, which we all pretty much agreed we were going to get into the next phase, the knockout phase, which we did. Yeah. So that's all hit it. But yeah, Danny hits it again along with you. So that's 2 out of 4 so far. Of course, still got Chris want to go. I'm going to stall a little bit until Chris goes here because
did we predicted Champions League, like where we would finish in the table and how far we would go as a whole? No, or did we not?
Not finish in the table. We just did where like
because I remember being on that show. I'm like, we'll finish like 23rd out of 24th, just squeak in. I think somebody,
I do actually remember you saying that.
Somebody did say that. I don't know if it was me. I'm not going to take credit for it, but one of us did come on this show and say we'll get in on like the last day. Finish in like 23rd just to squeak into a playoff spot, and it's like somebody did. I don't know who.
Yeah, I mean, I also do remember that happening as well. Yeah. While we do wait for Chris, I think we can see if who we voted for in certain things because, of course, the season preview also means that we had to vote for who we thought was going to be player of the season, etc. So if I can just get the video clip, maybe I can find it. So I'm going to skip player of the season because I feel like we all voted for the same.
I think we all pretty much were like, it's probably going to be Okeras. So I feel like we could skip that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we just asked media, because I'm looking at it and I can just see maybe I asked you guys on the poll, but I can also show you where the media thought we were going to finish. And I can give
I would like to know where other people outside of our little bubble were thinking.
If I can get the right screen, I'll see if I can find the exact prediction because there is. So they voted player of the season for Victor Gyökeres, of course, and that was pretty much spot on. So let me just fast forward 30 seconds. I'm sure we'll get to the next bit as well. Like I said, bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. It is a
Live show, anything can happen.
It is, and I've just gone off the right page. You know what? Maybe we'll just go into oh, there we go. So
Got it.
Twitter predicted us to finish. You get it? One sec. Bear with.
Give it a minute.
I'm trying to find the right window.
Across.
Can't find the window.
Folks.
Uh,
Tabs you have open like 80 tabs.
too many. Yeah, there we go. So
predicted first. We're all
Twitter predicted first. It does say media there, but I can confirm what the media.
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much. Well, like especially because like Portugal wasn't expected to do great. Braga's Braga. Sporting didn't really lose anybody key for the most part. Like, who did we lose from last season to this season, really?
Yeah, we didn't. There we go. So
pretty much the whole team back. So,
but this was filmed in July, so we technically weren't to know if players were going to stay. And I think before Chris makes his prediction, I've cut it down a bit, but he does say, you know, we don't know if Jokre is going to stay, Hjorm was going to stay, and Nastia was going to stay. We didn't even. I think we made one signing or two signings at that point, and that was the Bast and Kovacevic. Harder hadn't come in yet.
Yeah.
So we didn't really know. But I will say the media predicted, and that is Long Ball Football, Zach Lowy, GM10 Media at the time, Kevin, Con Murphy, and Inside Sporting, all of them, I say all of them, the winning vote and the most popular vote was actually for us to finish in second.
I mean, fair. I figured they were guaranteed top two. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so they were wrong. But so far, Richard, you've been right. You know what? I feel like I can't stall any longer. So I will go with Chris's one next, which I believe should be this one. Yes.
What has Chris expertly predicted? I feel like Chris probably predicted us to win, but he might have been a bit more of a pessimist if I wasn't gone second, which I wouldn't have blamed him or called outrageous at the time. Let's go.
No, but let's see.
Yeah, Danny, I'll come to you next. For the
Nope.
league?
Danny's one again. Damn.
Danny.
Just making sure you're all paying attention, you see. Okay.
To Mr. Saldana.
Is it this one? There we go. I've got the right one now, boys.
Let's go.
You wouldn't think I'd work in IT for a living, would you?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Let's go for it.
Chris, what about you? What is your prediction for the league?
It's tough to predict back to back. I predicted second last year. Yeah, right now, I think that we are going to win the league right now.
We all were optimists.
So the bit I cut out was him saying that. So he said, "Right now, I feel confident, but if Jokre goes, we might struggle." But I will give him the prediction because Jokre stayed, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I counted. He predicted us to finish first. I give it to him.
So that is 3 out of 4, which of course leaves myself.
What have you not gone with the gang? Are you not squad goals?
Who knows? Speaking of devils, I believe Chris is here.
Has appeared.
What's up, boys?
How you doing, Chris?
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
What up? Dobrdinja, boys.
What up?
Speaking of, Chris, we were just going through our season preview predictions of where we thought Sporting were going to finish. Do you remember what you predicted?
I think I might have predicted second.
So let's have a look, because I've got the clip here.
Did I predict bicampeões?
Chris, what about you? What is your prediction for the league?
It's tough to predict back to back. I predicted second last year. Yeah, right now, I think that we are going to win the league right now. Wow.
You call it, but I will say you did say if we lose the Jokres and if because this was filmed in July, really early July. So your caveat was if we keep Jokres, we're going to win the league, and of course we kept him.
Yeah, we still had like a month left.
I should have never doubted myself. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. And Richard guessed correctly as well. Danny also guessed correctly, so it leaves one, which is myself
Sam, are you an op?
Big.
to to predict.
The triple is a very tough prediction.
Let's see.
And I'll start off with you, Richard.
Nope, I've done it again, man. Which one is mine? Is this one?
As much as he digressed it. Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to agree with all of it. I think we've got to go back to back. And I think
done it. Okay.
the service to the squad, and I'm if we said second or third, because they've done so well. And last year they did so well.
So basically, yeah, we all predicted first, which, to be fair, I couldn't remember if we all did when I got the.
I thought I would have predicted second, honestly. I don't think I would. I'm usually not that optimistic.
Yeah, we all were optimistic. To be fair, I think if you said, if Ruben Amorim leaves halfway through the season, because I don't think anyone said, oh, yeah, Ruben Amorim's going to leave. Or I don't think there were any rumors at that point of him leaving.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought he would definitely be in it for the season, at least.
Yeah, so give us credit. We managed to hit it nail on the head, all four of us. So well done, everyone. Chris, just to keep up to speed, we did our awards show, and you obviously had a vote in some of the awards as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just to do a recap. Of course, Player of the Year, Victor Gyökeres, unanimous Player of the Year from Twitter media personalities and us.
What a season! What a season! Yeah. I mean, he had an amazing season last season. I mean, I guess it was technically 2 seasons ago, 13 or 23, 24, but 24, 25. I mean, he was just ridiculous. Almost won the European Golden Boot, and he did in our hearts because he did score more goals. So,
facts. Yeah. We did a underrated, and this one was a split vote. So you, I believe, voted for Rui Silva, Chris. Richard voted for Eduardo Quaresma, but myself and Danny voted for Trincao as underrated Player of the Year. And
Deserved.
I think, I said to Rich, and me and Rich both agreed, I think you could put pretty much any player that played this season in this position of underrated player, and you would be right. Because the media did go for Maxi Araujo as the underrated Player of the Year, and Twitter would go for Eduardo Quaresma. So 3 different winners of that one. But again, like I said, I think all of them spot on.
Tough to argue against any of them,
No, you can make a game for each of them.
We did have a negative category, unfortunately, which was a disappointing player. And I think all of us unanimously put Morita as disappointing Player of the Year. That was podcast members and the media that I asked. But Twitter would disagree, and they would go with Vladan Kovacevic, who completely slipped my mind. Until
old tiny arms.
Facts. And that is not an edited picture, by the way. That is genuinely taken from a match day. So I just want to put that out there. And then the last 3 were all unanimous. Kit actually was split between us, because I believe you put the lime green one, Chris. I put the pink one.
That is a recency bias. I've been seeing it recently. I was looking at it. Someone posted like a photo of it, and I was like looking at it up close, zoomed in. I was like, you know what, this is a nice kit. But then again, I was looking at the Stromp kit again, like that, which technically was released last season. That's a beautiful Stromp kit as well. It's the remix Stromp in theory, because it's the sideways, but the logo, it's a nice looking kit.
Yeah, I think any kit you could have chose. I think there's just been so many that, to be fair, I forgot about the Stromp one just because we hadn't used it in so long. I think we used it like maybe once or twice, so I just completely forgot about it. But I think this one is a beautiful kit as well. So we had 2 categories remaining. Could you guess what the game of the season was?
It's tough. It could be a European game, although I don't think so. I don't think any of the games that just happened could be it as well. I voted the Gilles Vicente game because I thought that was the turning point. It could be a candidate.
It was the 4-1 versus Man City.
That was a good one.
I think me, Danny, and Richard both voted for this one.
We thought we were certainly going to sweep to a top 8 spot at that point.
We were so off. I said to Sam, I thought we were the best team on planet Earth. I thought we're gonna win everything this year. Who's gonna stop us?
We're gonna win everything, and we might even make it to like the semis of the Champions League.
Yeah, I was like, we're winning the Champions League. and then it all just came crashing down.
And then we
Back to
scrapped
reality.
in 23rd on the last
Yeah.
game.
Facts. And last but not least, goal of the season, of course, would be Eduardo Cresma. But Zeno de Bas did get a few votes. He got one from Danny, but the rest
Forgot
of us
about
went
that.
for
You know,
Eduardo Cresma.
it happened very early on, but that was just such a fucking banger.
Great goal.
Yeah, and there was a few other people on X and Twitter that voted for different goals. There was a Trincao goal earlier in the season. Of course, the best Pedro Gonzalez got a few votes for the one against Victoria Guimarães as well. Man City, Gyökeres's first goal against Man City as well. Got votes. But again, I think definitely deserved with that. So that is the recap of player and awards. Before we get into the squad review and who we think should stay, sell, whatever, I think we have to touch on a stomp that happened earlier in the season. There is a criminal that is currently roaming the streets of Portugal. His name is
Most Wanted Man.
He may have a warrant presented soon.
Yeah. And I think we can all agree that it did look painful. It should have been a red card, and the VAR should have looked at it.
It was absolutely reckless.
100%.
Yeah.
But that being said,
What was the score of the game at that time?
1-0 Benfica, because Belotti was keeping the ball in the corner.
Okay.
So in theory, let's say Mateus Reis gets sent off for VAR, because that move directly leads to the penalty for Renato Sanchez giving away for Victor Gyökeres. So in theory, that goal, I believe, get cancelled out. You can correct me if I'm wrong. If maybe that happened,
So
it just would have been different.
So,
It would have been different. Sporting would have been pushing in theory, but with 10, it would have been harder.
So does this mean that in the 2009 Taça Liga, the phantom handball, we get to go back and retroactively change that because the ball smacked Pedro Silva's chest and not his arm? Is that what we're doing now? Just clearing up.
I wonder. We've all seen the angle of it from behind, but I wonder. I think it's missing. It's missing one angle. There
was an overhead cam, like the sky cam. No,
where you see their backs, but I want to see one where I'm looking at it.
You see sort of this one where
but you don't see it
like I wonder if he truly was going. I wonder if the ball was already out of bounds as well, or a handball first.
They gave it out. I believe they gave a offensive foul on Belotti, I want to say, or maybe it was out of play.
Well, now it maybe makes more sense if they were calling a handball because the ball might still be in bounds. But that doesn't really change that much if you're gonna issue an off the ball sending off. Yeah, I don't know. I think that Sporting was obviously struggling to create chances anyways, and the Gyökeres goal or the Gyökeres penalty semi-counter is just kind of a fucking miracle anyways. I truly don't even know how 10 men would have changed it that much. We still would have been struggling. We carved out like one half chance, 2 chances. We get the break, we get the pen. Renato's reckless. It's just the whole thing is just a miracle. There's miracle moments that led up to this. I don't know. I obviously think that it's it could have been a red.
Should have been a red, I would say.
But
I understand.
I think that he's catching a lot of flack for the failings of Benfica that they have to answer for now, and they need to blame it on somebody. So
100%.
Well, it's like blame. I mean, I understand the frustration with VAR and the linesman being right there. I understand maybe the linesman doesn't see that, but VAR not even saying to the ref, hey, take a look at that.
The ref
we saw it on the broadcast.
The ref had a wild game.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But we saw it on the broadcast almost immediately, within 30 seconds to a minute, and we were all in real time, realizing, okay, I see why they're pissed off.
Yeah.
He should probably be sent off. And yeah, I was blown away that VAR completely missed that. I understand being upset with all that.
Well, maybe VAR saw it, but just didn't think it was intentional.
Well, and that's the thing. maybe they didn't think it's intentional.
He's just like
Regardless,
trying to step over him, and he like steps on his head, and they
Like-
just like don't. I don't know, dude. I don't know what the fuck.
regardless, the hissy fit that's come from Rui Costa and Benfica. I mean, I've even seen Benfica fans saying, "Look, like be upset with the VAR for missing that, like absolutely, but like a lot of this just seems like a bit of sour grapes and posturing, a little bit."
Totally.
I mean,
That's all. That's all.
It's
what
it's
it
a
is.
blown call for sure. And
They really
actually
only have
right.
themselves to blame for this result.
Yeah.
And even with everything that happened, I tweeted it. Every single thing could have happened, except for the last 10 seconds, and Benfica still would have won 1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think you hit it straight nail on the head, Chris. Is that Rui Costa and to a lesser extent, of course, Bruno Lage are using this to hide behind the poor seasons they've had and the poor investments they've done. And I think it's just easy to say we were robbed instead of, we were winning for, 45 minutes and we bottled it because they did. The only second point I would say is Belotti was fine. Belotti did not stay down for long. He stayed down for maybe a minute.
Which didn't help the case. Which didn't help the case, you know.
Yeah, got up, no cuts, no bruises.
Needed medical attention, and like he had cuts or something or concussion even. Then absolutely
I always just think that it's ridiculous and funny when people try to prosecute things that happen in sports in like civilian courts.
Yeah.
It always leads to hilarious outcomes. So now trying to get a criminal charge, right, for assault or something, I don't even know, is it's funny because it's just so ridiculous and there's no way that it's actually going to happen. And yeah, rather than admit that we bottled it, we came up short, we had a good season, we almost did it, blah blah blah, these are the things that we could have done better, etc. It's just it's Portugal, baby. So, but if you're a Benfica fan and you're, I guess, falling for this type of shit, you're a complete idiot because at least you need to see the situation for what it is and what's actually happening, what the point of it is. But yeah, good luck. I mean, Maxi Araujo was also catching some flack
all of a sudden,
and I actually think that Maxi Araujo might go in for an elbow.
Yeah.
But he misses. He whiffs. So they were just oh, Benfica's issuing sanctions. I think it went through today. They're trying to issue a suspension, a sanction against Araujo and Race. And it's Araujo, a multi-game ban, for a failed elbow? I mean, what are we even doing at this point, right?
Be upset at the play, be upset that VAR didn't do anything about it, but you still bottled it right at the end because we're going to have to sanction.
Be upset that the VAR overturned the Inacio handball.
They also did nothing in extra time, by the way, just to
be upset that
extra time to prove people wrong.
Be upset that they called the handball on Alvalade when Inacio cleared it and his arm's at his side. Be upset that there's a million other things. I don't know. It is kind of a weird thing, honestly, to land on as the one thing that's this is the worst thing the ref did.
Yeah, and Rui Costa and Varandas have been in a spout of words, considering because they've been quite close, I suppose. You see them in.
They've been besties, man. They're going for frozen yogurt and stuff together. They're going to Little and stuff,
facts,
holding hands, catching jellyfish and all that. They're pals.
Right now, Rui Costa's ass is on the line, and he's just flailing.
He knows that there is, and understandably, a large portion of Benfica fans not thrilled with the direction of the club right now. Obviously, they're a very results-driven club. They're not used to not really winning the big trophies. And he's gonna have, and he knows that there's gonna be heat because he's gonna have some legit competition. It seems like in this upcoming election in the fall. So, and they're not gonna get much of a rest. There's no rest for the wicked because they're playing in the Club World Cup and they got there by merit. Fair enough. They're going to be playing Champions League qualifiers. They're going to be playing Super Cup. So they really don't get much of an off season. So yeah, the pressure is just going to kind of keep building, especially if they don't get the results in if they don't get to Champions League league stage and they crash out, if they have a poor showing at the Club World Cup, if they lose the Supertoss of the Sporting, even that's gonna trigger. I mean, it's one game for a trophy. It's nice if you win. It's not a big deal if you lose. But like,
Yeah.
If things start cascading a bit, he's really gonna start feeling the pressure. And then, well, I'm not saying all that stuff's gonna happen, but like, he's got a lot coming up soon. That if things don't go very well, there's going to be more voices calling for his head.
Benfica actually has like voting at their nucleus. It actually is easier to vote. That guy Noronha did take like 35% last time. You got to think of the discontent.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it depends on the moment. Maybe all of those things that you said, Richard, the opposite happens, and
maybe they do. Maybe they have.
They do great, and all of a sudden he just cruises in, and none of this even matters because of recency bias. But yeah, it does feel like a pressure cooker that is starting to spill over. So if those things start to go wrong as well, on top of everything that's already happened, he's probably done for, honestly.
Yeah, and you make a great point. Maybe they'd make our little run in the Club World Cup. They win the Supertoss, so it's like we got a big win over our rivals. We got some revenge.
Yeah.
They get to the league stage of Champions League, so all is well there. Maybe they have a hot start to the season, even, who knows? But if one or more of those things goes wrong, and it goes wrong spectacularly, boy, there's going to be a lot of, like, the voices are just going to, can you hear the footsteps? They're going to be growing louder and closer all of a sudden. There's going to be a lot of questions asked of that administration, and also of who's going to be potentially running against him. Do we have official candidates for him? I know this is more Benfica.
That guy Noronha is running again, at least.
Well, he took.
I think there's 2 other candidates as well.
Yeah, Noronha took 30% of the vote last time, which is no small feat. Like, that's
it's not bad. It's not a bad showing.
He took a third of the votes.
Yeah,
it's not small at all. Like, and there wasn't nearly the discontent around the club then as there really is now, right? Like,
that was like when he first got elected, right? Because like that was everyone was saying that he was Luis Felipe Vieira's right-hand man. So it was like if you're voting for him, you're still really voting for Luis Felipe Vieira because he was
chunk. Yeah,
he was there the whole time, and
but there was also,
argued let it happen.
And I understand the nostalgia because he was a great player for Benfica. He was someone who always loved the club, even returned at the end, unlike some people. Figo, excuse me, it's a cough there. But yeah, so like I understand why people were like, no, it'll be different. It'll be nice to have like a former player who knows the club, who knows the fan base, leading the club. Like, it was kind of that nice poetic moment. And yeah, I think people just in general, like, we need some sort of fresh face, and he's obviously the guy who's probably the most trained for it at the time, for sure. But it'll be interesting just, to keep an eye. Kind of like we kept an eye on the Porto elections. Like, I'm still blown away that Pinto Costa got swept as bad as he did. I thought, like, it might be close, but, like, I think Pinto Costa might win. He got dog-walked in the polls by Villas-Boas. Wasn't even close, so maybe we see something similar with Benfica. Maybe he just gets in again anyways. Who knows?
Yeah. My favorite thing of all of this was Cesar Boaventura saying Portuguese football doesn't need more complicit silence. It needs ethics. It's like, really? That you want to go down?
Cesar Boaventura, yeah, Mr. Etha. Isn't he under investigation for corruption?
Not under investigation, charged with corruption.
Yeah. He's one of the few who actually managed to get charged.
Yeah, so maybe you should change your name to Fraud Bonaventura.
But remember, he got charged, but it had nothing to do with Benfica, so Benfica weren't charged.
Yeah, he was just like bringing briefcases of cash, like on his own accord.
On his own accord, just out of the goodness, out of the.
He definitely did not have players at Benfica on his books as an agent.
It was out of the kindness of his heart, Chris. Come on. As is all things in Portuguese football, we do these things out of the kindness of our heart. You just give the referee a gold watch out of the kindness of your heart. You just call women to their hotel room out of the kindness of your heart. Like,
yeah. Well, according to Rui Costa, that's what he thinks Varandas is doing right now. So
that's the funniest thing to me, because they're like painting Varandas as this criminal, as this like mastermind, and Portuguese are like, bro, do you watch like our president in like the press? This guy there's no way this dude's a mastermind.
Also, like Rui Costa, as you just mentioned, like the positioning of themselves in the election, the reality of the situation. It's like, this is Luis Felipe Vieira's right-hand man. If you vote for him, you vote for a continuation of the Luis Filipe Vieira administration.
Yeah.
Who is Luis Filipe Vieira? What was he doing? Like, he was the top mob boss
was
in
the
Portugal,
guy.
you
He
know,
was the
like
dude.
20
20 years.
12 to 2023, and it's like, that's your man. It's like, bro,
Boy.
you're just mad that you're not benefiting from it anymore, I guess. Or it's like, well, I guess he had the clout and you don't.
You don't
little
have sauce
guy.
like that.
You don't.
I'm laughing at people like Varandas is this mastermind, and I'm like, bro, like I think you're giving him too much credit. I don't think he's that clever. Like, look, go watch a Varandas press conference. This is not some sort of criminal mastermind. This is like, if he's lucking into things, if anything. I don't think this is some great conspiracy. Let's settle down.
Yeah.
Even Portuguese are like, bro, like, calm down. Hang on a second. This is not. We wish he was like this. That he was goated with the sauce like that, but he's not.
And I think it's weird because I guess every club thinks this way, that they're always harmed the most. But if you look back at history at our club in terms of being harmed by referees, especially in games against Benfica or Porto, it's not too long ago. I remember Pepe uppercutted Sebastian Coates from a corner and nothing was done with it. Di Maria punching Pot in the face.
The Coates sending off.
Coates getting sent off for as he's the one who gets stepped on. Like,
even this season, Diamande, Mateus Reis getting Diamande to a lesser extent, Mateus Reis getting sent off for
because he was an idiot.
reasons. Renato Sanchez nearly breaking Brian Ruiz's leg in 2016. You mentioned the handball in the Tasa final in 2009, 2008, whenever it was.
2009, the Pedro Silva phantom handball. Where even the commentators are like, "Oh yeah, it's penalty," and then as soon as they see the replay of the reverse, like, "Oh, that's they've got this terribly wrong." They've royally screwed up here, and we're all just millions at home and around the world have just seen this live in high definition, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Definitely. Let's move on to, I guess, the final segment we'll do, and that is the keep, loan, sell thread we do every year. So I will go through players. If you want me to stop on one, or if you disagree with one, let me know. But I'll go through them as now. Of course, Rui Silva was an overall keep with 98% of the votes. Only two people,
and he stays too. Actually, I was doing transfer market shenanigans the other day, and it was an obligation to buy for like $4.5 million.
Yeah,
I think, which is a bargain considering what we paid for Vladan. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's been fantastic. I think 2% sell probably just click the wrong button, or Arrival fans.
Yeah.
Next up,
they don't watch the games.
Twitter's most disappointing player, Vladan Kovacevic, of course, coming back from loan, as Legia Warsaw actually dropped him halfway through the season.
He'll probably be a loan again, but I'd love to sell him.
I'd like to sell him.
Yeah, but I think everyone's agreeing in that camp. Franco Israel. Now, this one is, I thought, quite interesting because it's pretty split either way. I think
interesting split of the votes too. Actually,
I think I voted keep myself, as you can see there, and it was only because I voted keep because of what Rui Borsch said, how he's like everyone's best friend in the dressing room, and like he's
a good vibes guy.
Does he even want to stay though?
Yeah, I guess that's the question.
It's probably ultimately up to him.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with being a backup goalkeeper. Like, players have made careers out of it.
I always compare it to like hockey when you have.
If they sell him, what do you think his valuation is? $3 million.
Probably higher than Kovacevic's. So if you're going to sell one of them, you probably.
So we bought him for $650K, I think. So I mean, we'll probably make a slight profit. We'll make a tiny little profit,
Yeah.
I always compare if you're going to be like a perennial backup in soccer, like the same in hockey. Like if you're going to be the backup, just be a good vibes guy. Like be like a good character.
Like the backup catcher.
Yeah, like just be there, like be fun around the locker room, like crack a joke, whatever. Be there when things are going tough. Yeah, so I'm happy. I think I put loan. I'd be happy to keep him, but he may want to go to greener pastures where he's going to get more playing time. And I would understand it because I do think there is still a bit of potential for a half decent keeper there. But yeah, that's going to be his decision at the end of the day.
Definitely. I do wonder if he leaves, what happens to Trincao? Does Trincao just suddenly drop off form? They seem pretty close.
He needs a new team boyfriend.
They're the real besties, man.
Facts. Diokalai, I voted for loan. Yeah. I think keep or loan is the unanimous. Still got a lot of potential. He might even be, if let's say Franco Israel and Kovacevic go, he might be the number 2 next year. Yeah. But I feel like we've been saying that every year. So who knows?
We'll see.
We started when he was like 17 though, so
Yeah, exactly. Gonzalo Inacio, keep, sell, I guess 7.5 maybe.
If you get a
you
good,
know,
if you get a really good offer for him, absolutely listen to it. But overall,
it's been years. When is that offer coming in?
Exactly. I think he might start to fall into that category if he just kind of gets stuck here, which is fine. I'm not going to be upset.
Yeah. Usman Diamonde had more to sell.
Yeah, more interest as well.
Sell. I think he's the younger of the two, and he's probably got a higher ceiling.
I guess Prem clubs think that he fits their profile better. I don't know.
And big teams, especially Prem clubs, will pay for potential.
Yeah.
Overall, I think just his decision making, probably like this season and in some of the key moments, probably lost him some brownie points, and that's why you see his sell margins a bit higher.
Strong finish though.
But he had a good finish. But yeah, I think teams will also view him as he's probably got a theoretical.
He's still going to get better too, you would think. Ignacio feels more of a complete product. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think definitely Diamonde's regressed a bit this season. I still think if we can afford to keep him, then keep him. But I think if an offer of like, I think his release clause is 100. So if an offer of like 70, 80 comes in,
I wonder what an offer of 35.
Nah, that's too low for me.
Depends on if there's like add-ons to it though.
Yeah,
they might listen. We'll see.
Zeno Devast keep. I think he's been fantastic this season. Versatile, he's the only player on our team that can take set pieces.
He had weird. He had such a weird season that I don't even know what kind of interest there would be for him, which is good for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Edu as well. Keep. Yeah, fantastic. Nothing more to say. Jerry St. Just, man.
I think it's time.
Yeah.
Probably his healthiest season to date, which is.
You get an offer to break even, I guess.
I think if you get an offer to break even, unless you really like having him as.
But if there's an offer of $5 million, I think you might as well keep him. I don't know. It just seems stupid at that point.
Do you reckon they just do the mutual termination? Do you reckon that's an option? Just like you're not fit enough.
It would have been an option if he finished the season unhealthy, but he finished the season healthy, so I don't think that will happen.
And this was his healthiest season on record.
It was his healthiest like 3 months.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of a weird injury in between there where he scored that own goal. Roy Silva scored the own goal. And there was rumors that, he was gone after that.
It was injury / being in the doghouse with the manager.
Yeah. But Rubel seemed to trust him again, so maybe he does stay next season.
He started in the final. I mean, and part of that was Diamande was hurt, but he still started. Like, that's something.
Yeah, I love seeing but I just think maybe it's time if we get an offer in, just try and recoup some of the losses.
If you could. Yeah,
like even in the Tassa, that run he made to stop
recover.
The recovery he made was like that's why you have St. Just there. He can do it only 2 times per season, but when they happen,
but what he does, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's great.
The criminal Mateus Reis, some voted sell.
Portugal's most wanted.
Prison FC.
Yeah, facts. But I think as a backup guy, I don't think there'd be any interest for him.
No, I thought he played great this season, actually.
Yeah,
and I think he's 30 now. He's probably not going to get many offers.
It's perfect, anyway. unless a Brazilian club actually wants to pay.
A Brazilian club or even an MLS club might want to overpay him, but that's all I could see.
Yeah, Nuno Santos is keep. I was actually surprised this one was as high as it was.
I thought it's that high.
The days of the 13 million offer from Italy are over.
Are done after that injury. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
third big injury of his career.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can get back.
I think he might be one of those guys who's either a lifer or they just let his contract run out.
Yeah. Facts. Even Fresneda, again, a split. Most people going to keep.
I went with sell. Weird season, man. I think we need to upgrade the position. I'll be honest.
I do as well. I went sell. I just think that, I think he's a serviceable player, but he's still got some value now that I think you should probably sell as high as you can.
Or a loan with an option to buy for 10.
Yeah, definitely. I think he was good when he came in a few times last season, but I think
he showed flashes this season, but just not enough.
I think if we're going to go back to the fullback, we should invest in a right back.
If he completely never became a real option at all, it would have been actually a lot tougher for us. Because the fact that he even became a serviceable option was an upgrade from his previous position on the team, which was just nothing. So I guess he helped in the sense that he became somewhat serviceable. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, we can do better at the position, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Speaking of right backs, Ricardo's guy,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
God, I'm sorry.
Dude, the guy was in Turkey. He was gone.
He wasn't even
Yeah.
there?
But then he was still on the team.
yeah. I wonder if he was going to go to the team that Joe Pereira went to. I wonder if that was going to be
I'm
a thing.
trying to
What was
remember.
happening?
Was
I
it
don't-
Alanya Spor?
That's João Pereira's team. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was the
I don't know if
guy.
it was Alania Sport, but
Was it ever named or was it just like unnamed Turkish
was just
club?
Turkish.
I think it was
Club, I
unnamed,
think.
wasn't it? Yeah.
It was
Unnamed.
Unpatched FC. I don't know.
Yeah, again, I think it's time.
Yeah, I will
Where
not
does he
be
even
upset.
go? Turkey?
MLS, maybe?
Like
Do you reckon he has a market in like the Middle East?
Vizela?
Oh.
Nah,
He might
Vizela's
have,
not
like-
gonna come up.
He
Obs.
might have like a market somewhere in Portugal. I could see an MLS team or something of that caliber, like
Yeah.
kicking tires on him, maybe, but not
Yeah.
many.
Middle East,
And
Qatar,
not like a
Saudi.
good
Yeah,
MLS team
Middle
either.
East as well. Certainly a
Yeah,
candidate.
UAE,
Yeah. Jenny, keep. Yeah,
Keep.
that's fine. Same with Maxi, keep.
keep.
Morita, I voted sell. I think it's time.
I
I
think
think-
I would sell as well.
I
Only
just think-
because we need midfielders and
We don't know what
Braganza
their-
is gonna be hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good
midfield
point.
situation going into next season could.
But he's not going to resign anyway. He's made that clear. So we're going to lose him for free.
Yeah,
so
we should sell him then, I suppose.
Yeah. Try and recruit maybe like what, 8 million?
No,
7
we'll make
million?
money back.
We'll make
We'll
some
make
money.
profit off him because he was purchased pretty cheap. What, 3
He
to
was like-
5,
He
right?
was
Yeah, I
like
think it was like
4 or
5 or
5
something,
million
yeah.
player, so they'll get a couple.
You know, we
million
could sell
for
him for
that.
8, I think.
They'll
Yeah.
make a couple million.
He's a
back.
Japanese international. He's started for us. He starts for them. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if he does go to re-sign, or if he wants to play, I guess if he has a fully fit preseason, he should have 2 months rest. So
Yeah.
hopefully he can come back a bit fitter. More human, of course, captain, keep no problem.
Rumors
Briganza,
cooled down. Whatever happened to Man U and Humeland?
yeah, they've completely died down. Even Arsenal in human because he's got the tattoo, doesn't he? Of the,
Yeah, he's got the gun on his arm.
Yeah, Braganza was one that
Braganza key.
surprised me because I remember when the injury
one's
first
gonna-
happened.
He's in the same boat as Nunes Sanz. The ACL boys are
Yeah, I
stuck.
suppose.
Like no,
yeah,
they're just not going to be a market for them right now. Anyways, you're better off keeping them and seeing if you can build some of that value back up.
yeah, that's a good point. Justin Moyes, I think keep. I think
liked
he
him
was
when I
really
saw
good.
him before he got
Roberto
hurt.
Martinez says he's right on the doorstep of the national team. He's very close.
He says it about a lot of guys.
Considering how stacked Portugal's midfield
I'm pretty
is,
sure I'm
I
I'm
don't
pretty
believe.
sure I'm pretty sure I'm on the doorstep of the Portuguese national team, boys. Like I'm not gonna lie.
You're
Well, I know-
I saw some weird looking dude at my last 7-a-side game. I don't know. He was there. He wasn't playing.
He had a
wasn't
clipboard.
affiliated. He was writing something down on his phone. I don't know.
But like you look at the midfield, you've got like Vitinha, João Neves, even guys like as a bit older like Palhinha. You got Ruben Neves, Bruno, Bernardo. It's
Otavio,
Justin Moyes, yeah. Like even guys like Florentino at Benfica.
Ruben
probably
Neves,
yeah.
the Saudi boys.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm more shocked that like Florentino hasn't gotten a call up, but like Ruben Neves in 2025 is still like a genuine option.
Yeah.
That's inexplicable to me. We'll put up a sword.
The professor, yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. Loan him out in the
Yeah,
first
loan him
division.
out.
I think he could play in a first division team.
But I also think loan now because Sporting B got promoted to the second division. That
True,
loan would
he
be
could just
big
play
as well.
there. Yeah.
Have him play there maybe.
Uh,
Unless there's like a team that's like, hey, we'll get. Unless you're getting like a nice little loan fee, and you're like, sure, whatever.
the GOAT BL, who was had controversy because he was the one who said that he hoped Mateus Ray stamped on someone's head or whatever the thing was at the bus.
Here we stomp on heads.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yes, sell loan.
This was such a Veranda. This is why I don't buy
6
the
million
Verandas.
euros.
This is why I
cost.
don't buy the Verandas as a genius ploy. He spent 6 million on a guy none of us had heard of, who proceeded to never play. So tell me where the Galaxy Brain plays are in lighting your club.
He was
money
just
on
in
fire.
case. He was just in case.
Yeah.
Just get out. Just go home. Yeah. So
Pedro Gonçalves,
keep.
keep.
I don't think there's that much of a market for him anyway.
Nah, he was too hurt and weird of a season.
Trincao keep, but I do think there will be a market
He'll
for
have
him
more
now.
interest. Yeah.
He's been linked, it feels like, everywhere. It feels like he's been linked to like Man United and
especially
both
if he gets
years.
if he gets burned at the Nations League and they somehow, in spite of themselves, do well, like he's a part of it, like that'll boost his interest for sure.
Yeah, of course, Victor Gyökeres. I feel like most of the sale probably came from
Loan.
other club. Yeah.
It might be a loan with a mandatory option.
Loan him out.
Send him to the second division. Get some game time.
Send him to get ready to hope you get used to.
There has been a lot of chatter about like him staying. Sporting offered him $6 million a year allegedly. I don't think he is, but
I would be I'd love it, but I would just be so genuinely.
I also don't think he will, because if they sell him, then they might not need to make any other sales.
They're probably going to make one big sale, and that's probably the one you make.
Him. So if they don't sell him, they need to sell maybe 2 other players instead.
They technically did sell Kenda, so he's not on this list because he's already gone to Chelsea. So maybe we don't need to sell that much anyway. We made it to the Champions League again. We should, line the pockets up a bit more too.
They're getting that sweet Dobrodinha, merch boost, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I spent 150 euros.
Bro, I just spent like 200 some euros at Lozevier for me.
I got the new home kit with the Escudo badge, a Dobrodinha scarf.
I'm waiting to see what the
and the Stromp shorts.
I'm waiting to see what the other 8 kits are saying for next season for.
I'll probably place another order in August again, because that's how it is.
Did you get your names on that, Christian?
I forget what the name of it is when you give like 10% of your income to the church. I feel like I do that with Sporting, between quotas and my
fair
tithing. The practice of giving 10% of one's income to a religious organization. Yeah, so it's just part of my tithing practices to transfer some of my funds to my church. So
you're a charitable organization, you're non-profit organization.
Should try to write these off.
Tax write-offs, yeah.
Sporting Club Portugal.
Business expense.
So, hey man, I worked for a hockey team. You could business expense anything if you're bold enough. All right? No one's gonna call you on it.
Max. Conrad Harder was the last one. Of course, that was a resounding keep.
MVP of the toss-up for me. He scored a lot of big goals in the. They had like the compilation of like all the goals he scored in the Portuguese Cup. He scored like half.
Also a maniac as well. We all remember the incident.
Oh, what a psycho! What a lunatic he is, right?
Yeah, so he's got the craziness, and Victor Gyökeres low-key has it in him as well.
It's the Scandinavian boys or something. Something in the water.
Human a little bit.
Something in the water in Scandinavia that just gets a couple screws are a little loose,
The last 2 pieces of news I want to cover is that Mark Edwards is officially confirmed to leave Sporting to join Burnley as they got promoted, of course, for 12 million euros.
I was going to say 12 million.
Happy trails, Marcus.
Yeah, finally getting to play in the Prem.
His Prem dream is realized.
And not in the way he thought it was, but yeah.
And last but not least,
one season because Burnley is such a yo-yo club, Marcus. So have fun.
The GOAT winning the league title, I believe. With
the Mexican league title. Yeah, they have like a playoff format, so they won the 2-legged final.
Yeah, so Paulinho winning the championship of Mexico, and of course, cult hero, club legend. I don't know if you put him in club legend, but cult hero definitely.
Can't get a call up to save his life, sadly.
The João Felix will get one, especially now they won the Conference League.
Oh, he scored a free kick too. So in his last AC Milan game, so that'll probably carry him for another 6 months.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Paulinho, no joke, should be called up. His scoring form has been insane. And if you're calling up players from Saudi, I'll say it again. You should be calling up players from Mexico.
Mexican league is more competitive than the Saudi league.
So much more. Like, go and watch a Mexican league game. It's so much.
And it's like, you could say the same thing. Like, the Mexican league is top heavy. So is the Saudi league. And
I don't buy that though, because
I think 8th place in the Mexican, like once you drop out of the top 4 in Saudi, it really starts to drop downhill.
Mexico, it's like you need to drop down like the second
to
12.
Half
of the table.
Yeah.
Like, think of the Portuguese league shithousery, but like more than half of the teams are actually good. Like, think of that. Think of all the shithousery of a 2-gal game apply that to Mexico, except the teams are actually good. It's not just 3 teams and everybody else.
Yeah. The last thing I want to end it on is this.
Oh.
A post from Cristiano Ronaldo. The chapter is over. The story still being written. Grateful to all.
No. I don't get
Apparently
off the
leaving.
ride.
What a
Down the south.
disaster season for
What a
him.
disaster for him, right? Like, this is...
What a disaster season. No trophies.
Look how
just
they've massacred. Look how
shocking
they've
league form. Lost in the Champions League semifinal.
Look how they've massacred.
Like, I don't even think they got into the main Champions League competition for next season. He scored some goals, but yeah.
Have we seen a player's reputation take as much of a hit?
His
as
top clubs
Ronaldo?
that he's linked to right now: Palmeiras,
Club World Cup.
Club World Cup, Monterrey, Club World Cup, Al Hilal, Club World Cup. Also named Raza Casablanca,
Raja Casablanca, my Moroccan goats.
and Sporting, obviously.
Yeah,
Those
I think he
are-
stays in Saudi, to be honest. I
Those
think
are
he
his
goes
main
to Al Hilal.
clubs. So Al Hilal's fresh off a disaster season as well. They've gotten
Just lost their manager as
They've
well.
sacked their manager, Jorge Jesus. Yeah, so I mean that it actually seems possible. I don't know if you guys saw Giannino Infantino, whatever the F his name is,
the El Presidente
on iShow Speed's stream. He
Yeah.
said that he wants Ronaldo to play in the Club World Cup, and he might. He's said that multiple times
Speed
now.
said Ronaldo's team. He's like, well, he's not there. It's like, well, just put his team there. Like,
Yeah, he wants.
team.
I also saw a rumor
Which I
Monterrey
know
could
is
even offer him
hilarious.
like a 2-month contract. They're
Yeah.
trying to force him onto a Club World
They're
Cup
trying
team.
They're trying to find
yeah,
a way.
I think Al Hilal makes the most sense, or honestly, maybe Palmeiras.
Palmeiras would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So
Look,
yeah,
I'm
make
just
of that
saying-
information what you will.
I'm just saying about this Club World Cup. I've gotten multiple emails telling me that tickets keep dropping from FIFA themselves. They're fighting to get people genuinely.
They're trying to
interested in
promote
this
Messi,
thing.
Ronaldo, I guess, right?
They are fighting for their lives to promote this tournament that nobody really asked.
I don't give a fuck about it.
I don't care. Like the idea of a Club World Cup I like. The way they've gone about it is so.
The old one was so ass, though. To be fair, as well.
No,
though.
I think you could.
And then they made it even more ass because the European teams would just get a bye to the semifinal. So it's just like, what are we even doing?
Like I think the idea of an annual Club World Cup appeals to me. I think my issue is they've gone so far in the other direction where it's such a blatant cash grab that no one who's a genuine football fan that I know of gives 2 craps about this thing. And look,
when even is it? Is it in July?
June.
It's in America, right? I don't even know information about it. I could theoretically
It's
be
the second
going.
week of June. I think Porto play their first pre-season friendly in 2 days.
In America.
They had to
I
find a
believe so, yeah.
broadcast.
What the fuck? Like Porto's coming to America? I don't know, bro. I need
New
more-
Jersey, I believe.
Jersey.
they were
I need
going
more
to.
information, man.
Like, bro, they didn't have a broadcaster for this thing until a couple months ago.
That's
This
crazy.
new big
That's crazy
sexy
that Porto's
flagship
going to New
tournament,
Jersey.
And they were
Wow.
scrambling.
What about
to
Benfica?
find someone to broadcast. Benfica will be there.
They going to New Jersey as well?
I think
No
Florida.
idea.
I wonder if any of them are coming to New England. They must,
They
right?
might. But yeah, like this new giant, sexy flagship tournament. They didn't have anybody who was actually going to broadcast the games anywhere until a few months ago.
I'm very glad that we're
not
competing.
Could you imagine
These
the
games
World
are
Cup?
insane, honestly.
Could you imagine
dude.
like the World Cup? We didn't know where the World Cup was being broadcast several months out. Like who was carrying the games? Like that is unheard. Like it's such a blatant like.
That's some Portuguese league shit, bro.
Yeah, like it's such a blatant.
Bayern Munich versus Auckland City FC. Like
my goats. That's what we're going for.
I'm just glad that we're not in it because the amount of injuries that we've had this season,
already
and even Porto and Benfica have had this season, and they play in literally 2 weeks. They've had 2 weeks rest. They're going to play a full competition maybe, and then get like another 2 weeks rest.
Yeah, no one asked for a Club World Cup. I could have seen like a 16-team tournament, like somewhere in the middle where it's like, hey, we can't just destroy everybody's bodies right after the season. A 32-team fucking month-long slog right as people are finishing, like there's still international break in between now and the Club World Cup, by the way. There's still like Nations League for Europe. There's World Cup qualifiers in like South America and Asia and stuff. Like these players are going to be knackered. Like,
Well, not our players, at least.
Well, not our guys, but like everybody.
And that's
else.
the main thing. Sporting
Everybody
players
else
will
is gonna
be okay.
knackered.
I'm really interested to see the turnout for some of these games. They were smart, and some of the more crazy games are in smaller venues like Audi Field, DC United Stadium.
Yeah.
But like
some of them are gonna be like decent turnout.
Wydad Casablanca versus Al Ain. What are we looking at for that?
You're looking
Al
at
Al Hilal versus Pachuca. I mean, what are we looking at for that?
You're looking for that first game. You're looking at like Vizela versus Casapia levels of attendance potentially. Like you're looking at
Benfica versus Auckland City in Orlando. I mean,
that one will do okay. We know a few Benfica fans that are traveling for that. I think that
won't do that bad, but yeah,
a lot of these games are gonna be looking sus attendance wise. And that's why they're trying to sell all these. That's why I keep getting notifications from FIFA saying, "Hey, buy Club World Cup."
Olsen HD versus Malamodi Sundowns.
Mamelodi Sundowns, my African Champions League goats. Sir, the South African champions.
River Plate versus Uraza Red Diamonds. That stadium holds 75,000 people. I mean, I don't know, man.
I mean, River Plate's got a good following. Do they have that good a following?
Yeah, in Seattle, Washington, we'll find out, brother.
72,000 stadium. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I have more interest. Let's put it this way: I have more interest in the CONCACAF Gold Cup and the under 21 Euros than the Club World Cup that is going on.
Maybe it'll be electric. Maybe we'll be proven wrong and it'll be electric. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I just don't see it.
Yeah, and if Sporting aren't playing, I'm not watching.
I'm not, yeah. Like, there's no teams that interest me there.
I think we can end it there unless you guys have got anything you want to add.
No, we'll be back for if there's a big...
We did it, boys, sort of.
It's been a long-ass season. I was saying to Richard at the start of this, Chris, that the Super Tassa game felt like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When in reality, it was this season. Like, it's crazy.
We saw as well, I guess, just to close.
If we won that game, we could be flexing 3 trophies, you know. But
and we're in the final of the Tassa Liga as well. We could have won.
Yeah, we could have swept it off. But you know what? We won the 2 most important ones. So
yeah,
facts.
I just need one time. I just need one European trophy. I don't care if it's a conference league. I just need one European trophy in my life.
One day when the conditions are right, brother.
One day I'm on my knees.
Next season.
Verandas, if you ever manage to
it's impossible.
I will take back every
No, I'm talking about the Champions League.
I thought you meant like I don't think you because you can't drop down. There's no drop downs anymore. So
is the president in charge and we ever win a European trophy? I am taking back every negative thing I've ever said about him in my life. I will be
all right. Super Tassa, Tassa de Liga, Tassa League, Champions League.
We're winning all next.
The 5.
So, the 5.
He's already the most successful sporting president in history. So
I need you to do one more thing for me, real quick, and I'll never chat shit again.
But yeah, let's end it there. You can follow Richard there. You can follow Chris there. Shout out to Danny who couldn't join us today. You can follow him there. You can follow myself there. But most importantly, make sure you follow all things Alvalade on all social media and podcast platforms, especially to keep up with the season awards show, especially the pre-season, which we will start and we'll do our season preview in probably 2 months' time. But of course, keep up to date with more podcast episodes and stuff via our Twitter and social media. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time, and peace.